In this video, we will be demoing the functionality of our Gmail application. We will be demonstrating how our Gmail application uses data from restricted and sensitive scopes our application is requesting. To use our application, the user must first authenticate with an account associated with a Google Workspace account, i.e. enterprise account. Non-Google Workspace accounts such as gmail.com and googlemail.com accounts will not be allowed to authenticate and use our Gmail application. We will demonstrate that functionality shortly. Let's begin by authenticating with an account associated with a Google Workspace. To do that, we first select choose a connection. Since we don't have any connections available, we will create a new one. We will name our connection Gmail. We will then select create. As you can see, the name of our application is called Okta Preview. And to show you the client ID of our application, let me just copy this over here and make this a little bit more visible. As you can see, our client ID is here. And let me just go back to our previous dialog page. And let me select a Gmail account associated with the Google Workspace. In this case, I'm going to use this one. And then we will then grant our application the following permissions. And then we can review our choices. And then let's select allow. That successfully creates our connection that we named Gmail. Alright, so to begin, our Gmail application consists of different functions. The first function we have here is the send email function. What this function does, it sends emails to the recipients in the two NCC headers. The scopes that we are requesting for this function are the gmail.send scope. Let me open up the API docs for referencing the specific Gmail API method we are using for that function, and that function is the user's message.send method. And as you can see, one of the required scopes for implementing that method is the gmail.send scope, and that's the one we are requesting for our application. And similarly, we have the read email function. What this function does, it returns details of the specified message. The scope we are requesting for this function is the gmail.read-only scope. And we open up the API docs to reference which Gmail method we are using for that function. And that one is the users.messages.get method. And the scope we are requesting is the gmail.read-only scope. And then here we have the forward emails function in our Gmail application. What this function does, it creates a forwarding address. This method is only available to service account clients that have been delegated domain-wide authority. And the scopes that we are requesting are the Gmail settings sharing scope and the cloud platform scope. Let me open up the API docs that we are referencing to implement this function in our application. This method is the one that creates a forwarding address. The scope that is required to use this method is the Gmail settings sharing scope, which is one of the scopes we are requesting. In addition, we are also implementing this method from the Google Cloud API, is the projects list method. What this method does, it lists projects that the caller has access to. And the scope that we are requesting for using this method is the auth cloud platform scope. And then we are also making use of this method in the which lists every service account that belongs to a specific project. And the scope that is required for use of this method is, or at least one of them, is the cloud platform scope, which is the same one that I previously mentioned. And how we use these scopes is by the user has the option to select which project that they want. So we need the ability to list the projects that the caller has access to. That's why we are making use of this scope right here. And then once a user selects the specific project that they want to look into, the appropriate or associated service accounts in that Google Cloud project the user selects are then populated for the user to select as a dropdown. In this case, we have this Gmail service account. Again, this makes use of the Google or of the auth cloud platform scope. And once we click on save, we then have this input and output for creating, or these inputs for creating forwarding emails. And then similarly, we have the set auto reply function. What this function does, it updates vacation responder settings by setting an auto reply message. The actions or the methods that we are using from the Google API are the following. So let me just pull those up. So one of the methods we're using is the user settings update vacation method. The scope that that is required for use of that method is the Gmail settings basics scope, which is one that we are requesting. And then again, we are making use of the same cloud platform scope for listing the projects, Google Cloud projects that the caller has access to, and then the service accounts that the caller has access to. So once we have that set up, we can then save our flow, and then we can then run our flow. As you can see, the first function sends an email. We will then read this email, and then this will then create the forwarding address, and then this will set the auto reply for this email address. And as I mentioned previously, we were going to demo that non-Google Workspace accounts such as Gmail and googlemail.com accounts cannot authenticate and use our application. So let me just demo that quickly. So we will create a new connection, and for this one I will call it non-enterprise. And then I will select a non-enterprise account. I'm going to select this one right here, which is a gmail.com Gmail account. And as you can see, it's the same Okta preview account. We will then select allow, but our application will prevent users from authenticating using a non-enterprise account. So let me just change all of them and show you that this will fail. And then as you can see, all of those connections have been changed to the non-enterprise account connection that we have created. As you can see, the green check mark is not there, indicating that this connection has not been successfully established with our application. Now let's save that and then run the application, and you will see that an error message will be populated for the user, indicating that the user is forbidden from using this function. And as you can see, this is the same for the rest of the actions in our flow. As you can see, this is only for accounts that are not associated to a Google Workspace. So Google uh, googlemail.com and gmail.com accounts will not be able to use our application.